Hello everyone, I am here with another video, but this time it won't be a story. It'll have the feel of a horror talk. If there is anything you don't like or would like me to fix, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you want us to grow, please don't forget to follow and like the videos. Love you all. Thank you.
Have you ever feel something under your bed? Have you ever felt that? You are lying in bed right now, and your arm is hanging over the edge. It happens every night. You fall asleep on your side, and at some point, your hand slips past the mattress and dangles into the open air. You do not think about it because you are half asleep. But here is what you should know. Every time your hand hangs down, it is entering a space your eyes cannot see. A space that has been there since you moved in. A space that has had years to learn the exact shape of your fingers. The space under your bed is not empty. No matter how often you clean, no matter how many storage bins you shove under there, the space itself remains. And spaces have memories. That sounds like something from a ghost story, but it is not. Think about a room where someone died. You can feel it when you walk in. The air is heavier. The silence is louder. That is because spaces absorb energy. Every scream, every cry, every single moment of fear leaves a residue. Now think about how many people have slept in your room before you. How many nights of terror have soaked into the floorboards under your bed. You are not just sleeping above wood and dust. You are sleeping above history. Kids know this better than adults. Ask any 5-year-old why they are afraid of the dark, and they will not say monsters. They will say something vague. It feels bad. There is something there. Adults dismiss this as imagination, but children are simply more honest about what their senses tell them. A child lying in bed hears the floor creak. An adult hears the house settling. But here is the difference. The house does not settle at 3 in the morning every single night. The house settles when the temperature drops, usually around midnight. By 3 a.m., the house is stable. So what is making that sound at 3:17? What is making the floorboard directly under your pillow groan like someone just shifted their weight? Let us talk about what actually lives under beds. Dust mites, obviously. Millions of them. They feed on your dead skin and thrive in the warm, dark environment. But dust mites do not make noise. They do not move objects. So when you wake up and your phone charger is on the floor instead of the nightstand, that is not mites. That is gravity. You tell yourself. You must have knocked it off in your sleep. But here is the problem. You woke up on the far side of the bed. Your charger was on the left nightstand. You would have had to reach across your own body to push it off. Sleep does not work that way. Sleep paralysis keeps you still. Something else moved your charger. Something that wanted you to know it was there. There is a famous case from 2005 in Austin, Texas. A woman reported hearing soft dragging sounds under her bed for 3 weeks. She checked every time. Nothing. Finally, she set up a camera. The footage showed nothing under the bed, but it did show her blanket moving, not sliding off, moving sideways, like someone was pulling it from underneath. She moved out the next day. The landlord later found scratch marks on the underside of the box spring. Deep scratches, like fingernails, but too wide for human hands. The police had no explanation. The case went cold. But here is what nobody tells you. Scratch marks on the underside of a box spring means something was underneath, reaching up. Not trying to get out, trying to get in. Think about the position of your bed. Is it against the wall? Most people put their bed in a corner. One side against the wall, the other side open. That open side is where you get in and out. But the side against the wall is a dead zone. You never see it. You never check it. And if something wanted to hide, that is exactly where it would go. Wedged between the wall and the mattress, flattened against the baseboard. You would never know because you never look. And here's where it gets worse. That space between the wall and the bed is usually less than 6 inches. But 6 inches is enough. Enough for a hand. Enough for a face. Enough for a set of eyes to watch you sleep from 2 feet away. People who study sleep paralysis have noticed a strange pattern. Almost every culture has a version of the old hag syndrome. A demon, a witch, or a shadowy figure that sits on your chest while you sleep. but the details change depending on where the bed is placed. In cultures where beds are on the floor, the figure emerges from the wall. In cultures where beds are raised, the figure comes from underneath. That is not a coincidence. Your brain knows where the threat would logically come from. And under the bed is the most logical place of all. It is close, it is hidden, and it is directly below your most vulnerable body parts. Your spine, your kidneys, the back of your neck. All exposed, all reachable. There is a simple test you can do right now. Turn off all the lights in your room. Get on your hands and knees beside your bed. Lower your head until your cheek touches the floor. Now look under the bed. Do not use your phone light. Just look into the darkness. Wait 30 seconds. Your eyes will adjust, and you will start to see shapes. Most of them will be dust bunnies and old shoes. But some shapes will not make sense. Shadows that seem too dark. Corners that seem to absorb light instead of reflecting it. That is called the void effect. And when you see it, your heart will speed up. Your palms will sweat. Your brain will scream at you to stand up. That is not fear of the dark. That is fear of what your eyes are about to resolve. A man in Ohio decided to prove there was nothing under his bed. He was 28 years old, a rational person, an engineer. He slid his phone under the bed on video mode and recorded for 10 seconds. When he watched the video, he saw nothing unusual, just dust and a single sneaker. But then he noticed something strange. In the video, the sneaker was facing the foot of the bed. His sneaker. He remembered kicking it off near the headboard. He posted the video online, asking if anyone could explain it. Within hours, people pointed out something else. In the background of the video, there was a small reflection, not from the phone screen, a reflection from something else. Something curved and wet, like an eyeball. He moved out 2 weeks later. He now sleeps with his mattress directly on the floor. Why do hotels have bed skirts? You have probably never thought about it. Bed skirts are those pieces of fabric that hang down from the mattress to the floor. They serve no practical purpose. They do not hold heat. They do not provide comfort. They exist for one reason only: to hide the space under the bed. Hotels do not want you looking under there. They do not want you seeing the stains, the lost belongings, the things that previous guests have left behind. But here is the real reason. Hotels have hundreds of rooms, and no one ever looks under the beds. That means anything could be living under there. Anything could be moving from room to room through the connected crawl spaces. And a bed skirt is not a barrier. It is a curtain, and what lives behind a curtain does not want to be seen. There is a condition called cryptomnesia. It is when your brain forgets a memory, but remembers the feeling of that memory. You have experienced this. You walk into a room and feel uneasy for no reason. You meet someone and immediately distrust them. That is cryptomnesia. Your brain is telling you that something bad happened here, but it cannot show you the file. Now apply this to your bedroom. Have you ever woken up feeling like you fought someone in your sleep? Your muscles ache, your jaw is sore, and your sheets are tangled. You assume you had a nightmare. But what if the nightmare was not in your head? What if something actually grabbed you, and your brain rewrote the memory to protect you? What if the soreness in your legs is not from tossing and turning? What if it is from kicking? Let us talk about pets. Dogs and cats act strange around beds for a reason. A dog that stares under the bed and growls is not being silly. Dogs have senses we do not. They can hear frequencies up to 65,000 hertz. They can smell pheromones we cannot detect. When your dog stares under the bed and refuses to look away, it is not imagining things. It is tracking something that moves very slowly, something that smells wrong, not like a rodent, not like a person, like stale air and old metal. And here is the most disturbing part. Eventually, the dog stops staring. It stops growling. It just whines and leaves the room. That is not acceptance. That is surrender. The dog has decided that whatever is under there is not worth fighting. Children who sleep on the top bunk of a bunk bed have a different fear. They are not afraid of what is under their bed. They are afraid of what is under the bottom bunk, because the bottom bunk is closer to the floor. And if something is under the bottom bunk, it can reach up, not to grab, just to touch. A single fingertip against the underside of the bottom mattress. Tap, tap, tap. Everyone assumes the sound is the pipes in the walls. But pipes do not tap in rhythm. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. That is a pattern. That is communication. And the child on the top bunk hears it every single night. They never tell their parents because their parents will just say it is the house settling. But the child knows. The house settled hours ago. There is a reason horror movies always show the monster under the bed and not inside the closet. The closet is far away. You can close the closet door. You can put a chair against it. But the space under the bed is different. You cannot close it. You cannot lock it. You can only ignore it. And ignoring something does not make it go away. It makes it stronger. Every night you pretend nothing is there. The space grows darker. Every morning you walk past without looking. The silence grows heavier. Until one night, you cannot ignore it anymore. You hear a sound that is not settling. A sound that is breathing. And you realize that the space under your bed has been waiting for you to acknowledge it. Not to attack, just to be seen. The final thing you need to know is this. The space under your bed is connected to the walls. And the walls are connected to the attic. And the attic is connected to every other dark space in your house. There is no barrier. There is no door. There is only darkness moving through darkness. So when you hear something under your bed tonight, remember that it did not come from outside. It has always been there. It was there before you moved in. It was there before the house was built. It lives in the gap between the floor and the world, in the space that architects forgot to measure. And the only reason you have not seen it yet is because you have never really looked. But tonight, your arm will hang over the edge, and something will brush against your fingers, something with long nails, something that has been practicing touching you for years. Do not scream. Do not pull your hand back. Just lie very still and pretend you are still asleep. Because the moment it knows you are awake, the rules change. And whatever is under your bed has been waiting a very long time for the rules to change.